There you go. Please. Thank you. Ready?
Please go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair and members. I would like to open by thanking the Chair, staff, and the stakeholders for working with my office on the amendments I am accepting today. I'd also like to reiterate my commitment to continue working with the stakeholders to address the remaining concerns, including the portal issue. The Ralph M. Brown Act was passed by the legislature in 1953 to ensure transparency and openness in local governing meetings, but new technologies exposed areas of the Act that need to be updated. Under the Brown Act, the legislative body of a local agency is required to post an agenda no less than 72 hours prior to a meeting. The agenda must be freely accessible to members of the public, in addition to being posted on the local agency's website if they have one. Many agendas are buried in agency websites or otherwise impossible to navigate. Formatting may restrict the capacity for citizens to search for or access agenda information. AB 2257 will update the Brown Act by ensuring that meeting agendas are posted in a consistent, visible location on the homepage of the local agency's website. It would also require there be a prominent direct link to the agenda, but is not prescriptive in language to be used or where on the page it should be located. It also specifies that the agendas be posted in a machine-readable format, meaning the documents can be indexed and searched by commonly used search engines and other tools, in essence a PDF. These changes help to promote transparency, a reasonable nexus with ADA requirements, and also to educate constituents on local government meetings. Transparency is what the Brown Act seeks to accomplish, but is not able to do so in the modern day due to new technology. AB 2257 updates an outdated part of the Brown Act to make it more compatible with modern technology. With that, I respectfully request an aye vote.
Somebody here speaking in support?
Good afternoon, committee members. My name is Rob Karinke. I'm the sponsor of AB 2257, and I'm with the firm of Grassroots Lab. We're a research and public affairs firm with a specialty in local government. I also have a deep background in government reform efforts. I worked for a number of years with California Forward and with in partnership with the California Clean Money Campaign on a number of transparency and disclosure initiatives. I've worked on local government issues my entire career, and I have a background in web design and data analytics. I'm advocating for AB 2257 because I believe it serves a critical need for transparency on local decision making and honors the spirit of the Brown Act, which is itself older than the Xerox machine. The bill has two aims: to ensure that agendas posted online are searchable on the internet and can be found by citizens on agency websites. Its two requirements each reinforce these aims. One, ensuring agendas are machine readable simply means that they can be searched on the internet by Google or other common tools. In instances where the agendas are posted as scanned PDF documents, they're essentially invisible to these engines, and also, to the best of my understanding, are not readable by ADA assistance readers. Second, asking that they be linked to the home page is both a logical, intuitive place for residents to find the document, but is also going to assist these engines in better indexing these files. The 72-hour posting requirement of the Brown Act gives even advanced tools, such as Google, limited time to find and index new documents, meaning a Google search may not return results until the decisions have already been made. Placing the agendas on an agency's homepage requires no additional records be created, and it's just one link. Many agencies have dozens, even hundreds of links on their homepage. One city website that I looked at had 200 links on their homepage, none to the current agenda. We're merely asking that the most central disclosure document of that agency, their governing board, which contains all pending policy and budgetary decisions, be the 201st link on that page. So it's not as simplistic as how many clicks away is an agenda, which is an issue, but also finding this critical document among a multitude of other information. The bill has broad and growing support from reform groups. I today have a letter from the Sunlight Foundation, which was unfortunately too late to make it in time for the analysis, but I'll quote from it: "The requirements of this bill not only make agendas more easily discoverable on agency homepages, but also foster reuse of the data by community groups and other entities seeking to help disseminate information far and wide among stakeholders." I'd use the example of MapLight, what they've done with information from Cal Access and taking data and making it more easily accessible. So in short, this bill is about leveling the playing field for access to public decision making, which is the cornerstone of the Brown Act and all subsequent transparency laws in the state. Absent this change, regular Californians will be challenged to know about these decisions before they're already made due to outdated and uneven publishing practices. Thanks for your time.
Others speaking in support today? People speaking in opposition? Oh,
go ahead.
Are you support?
Madam Chair, members of the committee, Jim Ewert for the California Newspaper Publishers Association. The hallmark principle of the Brown Act is notice to the public, so that the public can understand what it is that the body intends to discuss, deliberate, or act upon at its meeting. And this is a critical component of that, this bill. If the Brown Act were to be written today, it would start right here, where technology is today. It would start with this bill as a cornerstone of that principle. And for that reason, we ask for your aye vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Others speaking in support?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, Megan Brightwell on behalf of the California Professional Firefighters in support. I will yield my time.
Thank you.
I'll be brief. Anthony Molina on behalf of the California Manufacturers and Technology Association. We are here in support of the bill.
Thank you. Others? Anyone speaking in opposition today?
If I can. Chair, members of the committee, Dylan Gibbons with the California Special Districts Association in respectful opposition to the bill. Would like to thank the author for the amendments he's taken so far and his agreement to continue to work with us should this bill move forward. For CSDA, our opposition isn't to the readable, searchable, indexable agenda. All of our local agencies are already moving there, and as we update our software, most software already has this component in it. I relate it to trying to buy a new car with a crank window. It just doesn't happen. So as we move forward, we're fine with that portion of the bill, and I appreciate the delay to move that back a couple of years. Our opposition is to the requirement that it is on the home page. We believe that this micromanages our websites, the websites that have been designed to meet our constituents' needs. For example, one of our utility districts has done an evaluation of their needs and how the constituents visit their web page. Last year, they had just over 4 million visitors to the website. Of those, 2,904 went to their government section where their agendas are. The public is not asking for trying to get to these agendas, but if they want to, they can. We haven't seen an outcry from the public saying that they can't get to these agendas. And if they can't, we're then in violation of the Brown Act. A violation of the Brown Act, if we're not in compliance, any actions that our boards take during that time that we're out of compliance would nullify those actions. So any contracts that were entered into, any action taken. So it's a very powerful enforcement tool to stay in compliance with the Brown Act. Again, that's why we believe that there is not an issue of being able to access these agendas for the public. I believe that this bill is designed for the search engines, the current software capabilities of these search engines that struggle to get from the home page to the second page. Is why we're being asked to change all of our local government websites to meet the current software capabilities of these search engines. From our perspective, we shouldn't have to force our local governments who've analyzed and designed their websites for their constituents to pay for the changes to the websites for non-constituents. Additionally, when we're looking at information on these websites, if we just have an agenda on the home page, however, we're going to continue to have our past agendas, our minutes, our information about our government boards, likely on another page. It's going to be confusing for our constituents, for the public. If it's a 201st link on the home page, is that better than having it in the governance section of that city's website? I'm not sure, but our point is it supersedes our local control over our websites.
Thank you very much. Next witness in support.
Good afternoon. Faith Conley with the California State Association of Counties. We're actually in an opposed unless amended position. We appreciate the amendments to extend the implementation timeline. I would submit that local agencies are not attempting to bury their agendas on the website to not be found. Most of our counties actually have something that we call a central agency management portal. If you go to the county website, the primary website, there will be a link to a page that lists all of the agendas, all of the minutes, and past agendas and minutes for every board, commission, and subcommittee that we have. For LA County, I'll let you know that's almost 300. For Marin, that's 62. For San Diego, that's almost 100. So this bill requires us to provide a direct link to the agenda on the homepage. That means for these central management portals, we now have to go to that page, lift the direct link to the agenda, and place it on the homepage or the actual board or commission homepage. That seems rather redundant. It would basically tell counties that they shouldn't make it more transparent by having it all on one page and looking for these systems to make it easier for the public to access the agendas. I would submit that this bill is trying to solve a problem that doesn't exist, and for that I would ask for your opposition to the bill.
Thank you. Others speaking in opposition, just your name and who you're representing.
Dane Hutchings with the League of California Cities, also opposed unless amended, align my comments with those from CSAC. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, members, Julian DeVoris here on behalf of the urban counties of California. Agree with CSAC's comments. Many of the urban counties are big proponents of open data, transparency. If you go to their website, their board agenda has a link right on the homepage, but you may have to do one more click to get to the agendas. We really want to micromanage at that level. Therefore, we're opposed unless amended. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members. Elizabeth Espinosa today here on behalf of the County of Santa Cruz Board of Supervisors, joining with CSAC, opposed unless amended. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Steve Cruz on behalf of the Sacramento County Board of Supervisors in opposition.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Questions from the committee? Mr.
First of all, I thank the author for bringing this measure forward. In fact, it was Mike Fuhrer and I that authored, as analysis points out, AB 1344 that modernized for the first time our Brown Act. Well, I think the Brown Act has been modernized and updated since 1953. The last 63 years, I think it's been updated. But it was surprising that only 5 years ago, we didn't have any requirement that required cities to post their agendas on their internet. Most cities, even if they had an internet site, were still doing it the old school way, which was posting some hard copy on some billboard somewhere. If the public was able to find it, that met the minimal requirements of the Brown Act. So in 2011, the governor agreed with us. We authored a bill that now required those agendas to be posted if they had a website. Now you're taking it to the next step, which is making sure that they're not just on the website somewhere, but that they're somewhere prominent where the public could easily find it. And then secondly, that they're searchable, which we all know that is what the public uses to find particular documents. I've Googled or done searches when I'm looking for particular agendas by just typing in the dates and a little bit more information. And some allow me to go directly to that PDF document. So I think this makes sense. This is taking it to that next step. Technology is constantly changing, and some of these changes are pretty simple. They're getting easier and less expensive to do. And so in light of that, here we are 5 years later trying to refine it. I think it's a step in the right direction. So even though my county of Santa Cruz is opposing it, I've always supported these measures. In fact, there was a series of bills that moved towards transparency, including this one in 2011 after the City of Bell scandal. As many don't remember, back then there was a lot of measures that moved through this legislature trying to have more accountability, more transparency, more notice to the public, and this was in line with that back then, but it also makes sense today, 5 years later.
Can we take it as a motion, Mr. Vallejo?
I so moved.
I'll second.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Gordon. Okay. Other questions, comments from the committee? All right. I appreciate you taking the amendments, and it sounds like you're going to continue to work with some of the opposition to find that sweet spot. Would you like to close, sir?
Yeah, thank you. Just thank you again to the chair and to the members for the comments. I think, as one of the witnesses said, if the Brown Act were to be written today, this is where it would start. And if you look at just a number, kind of a random sampling of some of the web pages, 58 links, 200 links, 53 links, and how complicated it is to get to an agenda. When many of us started in local government, what it started with was you could thumbtack an agenda to somewhere in your city hall, and people from wherever in the city or the county apparently were expected to drive down to downtown to the city hall and look around and try to find this thumbtacked version. And I think this is a huge step forward to making government more accessible for the average citizen. So with that, I respectfully request an aye vote.
Thank you very much. Secretary, call the roll, please.
The motion is do pass as amended and re-refer to the Committee on Appropriations. Eggman.
Aye.
Eggman, aye. Waldron. Aye. Waldron, aye. Alejo. Alejo, aye. Bonilla. Chu. Cooley. Cooley, aye. Gaines. Gaines, aye. Gordon. Gordon, aye. Linder. Linder, aye. Bill's out.
Bill's out 7-0. Congratulations very much. Okay, Mr. Bonta, you're up next.
Thanks. Thank you, Madam Chair and members. Happy to present AB 2737 today, which would place in statute a ratio regarding how much money or funding Eden Township Healthcare District can spend. Thank you, members. Members, this is, in my view, a good government bill. It ensures that a healthcare district that no longer runs a hospital and no longer receives parcel taxes, but is a public entity with duly elected officers from the district, spends its money wisely and in a way that promotes healthcare services. Right now, in my view, they have their spending upside down. They're spending a supermajority of their money on administrative overhead and other costs, and only a small percentage, but by our count, at most in their best year, 6% on healthcare services. If you're going to be a healthcare district, we think you should be spending more on healthcare services. 80-20 is based on the medical loss ratio that we use in the Affordable Care Act, where we ask plans to spend no more than 20% on an administrative overhead and the remaining 80% on direct health care costs. So we modeled it on that ratio. We're open to a different ratio if there's a better one that fits more precisely, but we thought it was a good place to start, and we hope this will help promote good government and the promotion of healthcare services to the people who need them most in the healthcare district. Thank you for your consideration. I respectfully ask for your aye vote. I have with me today Mayor of San Leandro, Pauline Cutter.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mayor.
Good afternoon, Chair, Chairperson Eggman, and members of the local government committee. My name is Pauline Cutter, and I'm the mayor of San Leandro, and we are the sponsors of AB 2737. And I'm really grateful for this opportunity to talk to you and about our top legislative priority for the city of San Leandro, which is finding a solution that will help us address the financial sustainability of the San Leandro Hospital. The hospital is not only critical to the health and well-being of my citizens, but also it's an economic driver for our region. The City of San Leandro and Alameda County have made considerable efforts to keep the hospital open, which included both the city and the county contributing $3 million each, $6 million total to subsidize the hospital. And it's really unheard of for a city to take money from their general fund to subsidize a hospital, but we did because it's so important to our community. There's a dispute over the hospital that stems many years and includes a
Excuse me one second. No pictures in the chambers, please. Okay, please continue.
Sorry. There was a dispute over the hospital, and it stemmed many years between Eden Township and Sutter Health with the resolution of a 6-year lawsuit, and it's imperative to activate now Eden's obligation to our hospital. The basic foundation for a healthcare district's existence is to provide health care services. The Eden Township Healthcare District was established in 1948, and they no longer own or operate a hospital in our area that provides direct health services to our public. And when a healthcare district isn't following the basic premise, rules need to be set in place to protect the community. AB 2737 puts those rules in place by prescribing a non-provider health care district, such as Eden, spend at least 80% of their annual budget on community grants awarded to prevent direct health care services and 20% on its annual budget for administrative expenses. By prescribing this breakdown, we can at least, through legislation, ensure the public is receiving direct health care support, which is the purpose of a health care district. And I respectfully ask your support of AB 2737, and thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Mayor. People speaking in support?
Yes, Nicolo DeLuca, also here on behalf of the City of San Leandro to help answer any technical questions. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you. Others speaking in support today? People speaking in opposition?
Hi, I'm Roxanne Lewis. I'm a member of Board of Directors of Eden Healthcare District. And what this bill is trying to do is destroy the district's residents' rights to hold an election on the dissolution of their own health care district if so authorized by LAFCO. What I feel this really is a money grab by local people to shore up some bad decisions made by Alameda Health System in the past. And when we finish our obligation with the Sutter lawsuit, Eden Healthcare District would have contributed $50 million toward the support of San Leandro Hospital. That only represents a small, not a small portion, but a portion of the district and not the entire district itself. So we are definitely in opposition of this bill.
Thank you very much. Anyone else speaking in opposition today?
Madam Chair, members, Jean Hurst here today on behalf of the Association of California Healthcare Districts, regrettably in opposition. Our main concern is that this is a precedent-setting approach that kind of bypasses a local process that we think is critical to address the local concerns that are being discussed in the city of San Leandro and elsewhere in the area represented by the district. The analysis points out that there may be a need for a broader conversation about healthcare districts and LAFCOs. We're very open to that dialogue. The concern is that approach that this bill takes to attempt to get to an issue in a single district without that local conversation. We respectfully ask for your no vote.
Thank you.
There's Dylan Gibbons with the California Special Districts Association, aligning our comments with the healthcare districts.
Okay. Anybody else in opposition? No? Okay. And Mr. Bonta, I shared with you I am empathetic to your. It sounds, and Mayor, sounds like you have a problem with your healthcare district. I say that I figure that out because Mr. Bonta has a bill and Mr. Quirk has a bill. They're both addressing the same thing. They both take two approaches. The two bills cannot work together, so you need to find a way to make them work together. One would dissolve the entire district. You would put parameters on what the district must spend. Those things are, by nature, in conflict. So I would also encourage the healthcare district to work as hard as you can to resolve this, because you're absolutely right. We have bypassed the local process and have come to use a prod to make people work together. So I have done a non-reco on this and will support it today, but only with your commitment that you're going to work with Mr. Quirk, that you're going to come up with one solution to this issue, and that you can do your best to try to solve this on the local level. Thank you. Other questions from the committee? Mr. Gordon.
Yeah, just a few comments. I've long been concerned about healthcare districts. In fact, back in 2012, I carried a piece of legislation that would have required the healthcare districts to expend 95% of their money on healthcare. I think the challenge is, and the analysis gets to this, the challenge is that at one point in time, we needed to build hospitals in California. And the establishment of hospital and healthcare districts to allow us to do that was critical. Today, almost a vast majority of these healthcare districts have sold their hospitals, gotten out of the hospital business, and have become foundations, giving away taxpayer dollars, sometimes good projects, and things that do benefit a community. But we also have healthcare districts who are, operating medical office buildings, at market rates, and earning additional income off of that. We've got healthcare districts running. There's one in Southern California that runs a fitness center, and so I do think that there's a broader question about what role do these play, and why do we continue to support them. So I'm hopeful that at some point this legislature can engage in that broader discussion. I will, in alignment with the comments of the chair, be voting for the bill today, but hope that we can have a broader look at the role that these systems now play in a very different world than when we first established these districts.
Mr. Alejo.
Yeah, and along with my colleague, I think this committee has seen several bills on hospital districts, and I've also carried numerous bills. Just a few years ago, I had to carry 2 bills regarding hospital districts not paying out retirement payments even before the administrators retire, because they were abusing that in my particular district, and then another one saying that contracts need to be put in writing so that the public, the board, could actually see the compensation being given to administrators. Both of those were signed by the governor. But on this particular bill, sometimes I'm hesitant to make a general policy just based on what happened at one particular hospital district, healthcare district. But in this case, then you also, the flip side is what is reasonable? What is reasonable? Where is the public benefit? Because if you could imagine, in all our communities, I got a hospital, a healthcare district that doesn't have a hospital or doesn't do direct service. So this speaks to districts that are in my assembly district. But you have to ask, when you have your constituents that are paying this money every year after year, and you got to make sure that those dollars are being used properly. So it's our fiduciary responsibility to make sure, are we using the dollars the right way? And is this 80-20 split, is it reasonable for us to consider? You know, when you read some of the information that's happening in this particular district, where excessive pay is being given, more giving out to 3 employees than to what is being granted out to the community, then, I mean, if I was in a local government shoes or I'm in the state legislative shoes, I got to ask, is that the proper use of money, and is the public getting, you know, the greatest benefit? There has to be some controls. And for me, I think the 80-20 split, it seems to be a fair, reasonable approach to ensure that we're using the dollars where they should go, which is benefiting the public, not necessarily in all these administrative and overhead costs. So today I'm going to support that, you know, because I think at some point we got to not only deal with the issue that is happening in your back home, but also what's happening to many of these healthcare districts that are perhaps doing the same. And trust me, there's very little oversight. You hardly see them in the news. The particular races, candidate races, are not very well publicized. So I agree with my colleague who sits next to me that at some point we got to revisit some of these healthcare districts that are not providing direct service and hospitals, and determining you know, whether they should continue just collecting taxes and giving out grants and not directly providing a health care purpose, you know. So with that, I want to support this bill today.
All right, now I would ask Ms. Waldron to take over as I go vote in another committee, and I would echo both Mr. Alejo, Mr. Gordon, and perhaps we should do an oversight hearing on healthcare districts in this committee. Thank you.
Has the bill been...
Are there any other comments from members?
Move the bill.
It's been moved and seconded. Okay. We have a motion and a second. Would you like to close?
A couple of real quick comments, just for additional clarity. One, this bill as crafted would only apply to the Eden Healthcare District. So I just want to make sure that there's no misunderstanding that it might apply beyond. Another thing I want to clarify, we've had many local conversations over the course of many years, and we're only here because those conversations have not been fruitful. I also want to clarify that this bill does not seek to end run or bypass the LAFCO process, because it doesn't seek dissolution. It just says if you're going to be a duly operating healthcare district, you're going to call yourself a healthcare district, you should spend 80% of your revenue on healthcare services to the community. Pretty simple and straightforward, and of course that's less than what Mr. Gordon had proposed. I'm considering an amendment, but not prepared to go there at this time, Mr. Gordon. But I just want to thank Mr. Gordon and Mr. Alejo for your thoughtful comments and for your support. I just don't see how a healthcare district can only spend 1.3 to 6% of their total revenue on healthcare services to the community. It doesn't seem as if the community is getting the right end of that bargain. And so this proposes to help change that. Thank you for your consideration. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you. And there's a motion and a second. Secretary, please call the roll.
The motion is due pass, and we refer to the Committee on Appropriations. Eggman, Waldron. Aye. Waldron, aye. Alejo. Alejo, aye. Bonilla. Chu. Cooley. Cooley, aye. Gaines. Gordon. Aye. Gordon, aye. Linder. Linder, aye.
Bill's out 5-0. Congratulations.
Thank you, Madam Chair, colleagues, and staff.
Mr. Jones Sawyer, item 14. Item 10, AB 2385. What's that?
There's somebody wedged in between there.
You found it.
Yeah. Thank you. You may proceed when you're ready.
Thank you, Madam Chair and colleagues. AB 2385 gives direction to state agencies when issuing state licenses to medical marijuana operators in the City of Los Angeles. As current law, the Medical Marijuana Regulations and Safety Act requires a medical cannabis business to obtain a license, permit, or other authorization from a local jurisdiction in order to apply for and receive a state license. AB 2385 prohibits state licensing authorities from requiring a Los Angeles-based medical marijuana operator to possess a local license when the operator has complied with the specified provisions of Measure D. Moreover, this bill will require the exemption to the local licensing requirement to be superseded by a subsequent initiative that authorizes the City of Los Angeles to issue local licenses to medical marijuana businesses, if approved by the voters of Los Angeles prior to the time the state begins issuing state licenses. As such, this bill does not circumvent local control. In fact, a motion to support this bill has been introduced in the form of a resolution by Council Member and former Assembly Member Paul Koretz, was seconded by Council President and former Assembly Speaker Herb Wesson, and will be voted on by the entire City Council in the near future. I respectfully ask for your aye vote. Here to testify in support are Sam Rodriguez of the United Food and Commercial Workers and Marvin Pineda on behalf of the United Cannabis Business Alliance Trade Association.
Thank you. I'm Marvin Pineda on behalf of the United Cannabis Business Alliance Trade Association. We're in support. As Mr. Ray Jones Sawyer mentioned, the City of Los Angeles, when they enacted this measure, they don't require a license or a permit to operate. They've given immunity to 135 dispensaries. The problem with that is that about 700 or 800 operations are currently are operating, and what that does is that it creates problems when the states start issuing state licenses. So what the bill does is it will provide direction to ensure that all those dispensaries that are Measure D compliant, that are paying their taxes, that are following the rules, are able to obtain and apply for a state license.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Sam Rodriguez, Legislative Director for the United Food and Commercial Workers State Council. We represent about 160,000 workers across the state, primarily in the grocery and pharmaceutical and food processing. We're the only union across the country that actually represent and organize cannabis workers. We represent about 1,500 workers in the state of California, and majority of those workers are the workforce in the city of Los Angeles. So we have an inherent interest, a compelling interest, to ensure that the workforce in Los Angeles are under compliance. We view this legislation as a cleanup legislation from last year's signing of the Medical Control Regulatory Act, and we respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you. Are there other witnesses in support? Okay, seeing none. Opposition? No witnesses in opposition? Okay, I'll bring it back to committee members. Questions, comments?
I mean, important to tailor this to respond to the particular circumstances in LA. They've been working on policy in this area, and getting a good fit between what they've got and our law is very important. So I thank you for your leadership.
Thank you, Mr. Cooley.
Thank you, Mr. Cooley.
That's seeing no other comments. Would you like to close, Mr. Jones?
I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Cooley, second by Mr. Alejo. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Secretary, please call the roll.
The motion is due pass, and we refer to the Committee on Appropriations. Eggman, Waldron. Waldron, I. Alejo. Alejo, I. Bonilla. Chu. Cooley. Cooley, I. Gaines. Gaines, no. Gordon. Linder.
Well, it is 420.
Linder, I. You need one.
You need one more. It's on call.
Thank you.
Thank you.